Welcome back, Richard. It's good to see you this morning.
How are you?
I am doing all right.
Doing okay.
I'm excited about this conversation. Like many of the conversations we have on for the podcast.
Mhm.
This is one of those that I really enjoy actually talking about this topic to parents because
Mhm.
it's such an issue, and I think that. Well, it's going to be interesting maybe to hear what people say when I say, I think people overreact to this sometimes.
They
I think
do.
sometimes we take it so personally when
Mhm.
kids lie. And
Right.
so we're going to talk about kids lying today.
hmm Yeah, so we'll begin with why do kids lie? And of course, the most obvious and most frequently cited reasons are to get something you want, okay? Um, to avoid something, to avoid a consequence,
Hmm.
I'll try to lie, or to get out of something. So you're either trying to get something or get out of something or to avoid a consequence, all
Right.
right?
Well, when people often ask, why do kids lie? My initial response many times is, why wouldn't they? It's like when you think about the kinds of situations and the kinds of scenarios where kids lie, what do they
Mhm.
typically lie about? Hey, honey, do you have any homework? Nope,
Did it,
nope.
I did it in class. Did it at school today.
They have a bag full of homework. Nope, I don't have any homework. But why wouldn't they lie about that? If
Right.
given the opportunity, and they know that if they don't have homework, they can play their video games or do something else. We just did a podcast about dopamine and some of those
Right.
things. If they could say no and get away with it, why wouldn't they
Mhm.
lie?
Right. That's correct. Um, One of the things that we want to emphasize here is that yes, there are these very simple reasons of course you're going to lie. If it's a choice between I have 5 hours from the time I get home from school until I have to go to bed, I'd much rather play Fortnite or Minecraft than do math and science homework.
Right.
Okay. So I don't want to do my spelling words. I'd rather play Minecraft, of course. So those are the most frequently cited reasons why kids lie. But it's a little more, as always, it's a little more complicated than that.
Right.
And I think we want to begin with two sort of overriding principles. The first is lying, like everything else with children, lying has a developmental sequence.
Hmm.
Young children give you simple lies. Older teenagers give you lies of more consequence. Okay.
Right.
So there's a developmental sequence that you need to be aware of. Second thing is you need to be careful about punishments for lying.
Right.
And that I think is the part that we want to emphasize more than anything here. In the book that we wrote, we talk about teach, don't punish.
Hmm.
Be very careful with punishments, and especially with lying, because that can create it can make lying worse, and it can create a host of other problems that you would probably want to avoid. So be very careful before you punish lying. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, because you gave the primary reasons why
Right.
kids lie, but
Mhm.
there are other reasons as well.
Absolutely.
I think that in some ways, lying creates some autonomy. It creates some independence and some confidence in the kid. So,
Mhm.
by doing something and then maybe lying about it afterwards, but doing something, they may be trying a new behavior, they may be trying out
Right.
something new, and then they lie about it. And I really have a hard time with the word lying in some of these cases because is it lying or is it just, I mean, it is lying, but it feels like
Right.
such a harsh word for,
I
hey,
agree.
trying out some
Mhm.
different things and I want to experiment with my independence in my life. And so, but I really don't want to get punished for it. So, I'm gonna mislead you. It's lying, but but at the same time, it's sometimes developmentally necessary to do some of that stuff.
And it is developmental. Kids will try different behaviors. And what you have to do with young children in particular, you have to, it's best to view untruth, because I agree. Lying has this pejorative
Yeah.
context that it's really not lying. It is simply another behavior. It's like when a 2-year-old starts saying no.
Mhm.
It's not that they disrespect you or they don't like you. It's a new tool, a new behavior, and they try it out. And if you put lying in that developmental context, it makes it much easier. A typical 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old, they're going to say things that aren't true. They're going to try it out. It's like
Mhm.
any other behavior that they're going
Right.
to do. So the other thing they do is they say, well, I mean, you can see a little 4-year-old or 5-year-old saying, oh, let me try this, see if it works. It might work, and then I can do it again.
Mhm.
Um, but these are trial behaviors. So in young children, think of it as a trial behavior.
Yeah.
Second, many children lie to enhance their sense of self, their self-esteem, or to gain approval.
Right.
This is particularly true for children who lack confidence, and this is where you need to be careful about punishing. Children who don't have a lot of self-confidence, who have very low self-esteem, will often exaggerate again.
Mhm.
I don't want to call it a lie. They will exaggerate to sort of build their image, to boost their own image. All
Right.
right.
I
And
have this little boy that I see, little boy, he's like in fourth or fifth grade. And he came in the other day and he says, I'm not doing really well today. And I said, well, why
how
not?
old is he?
He's
Oh,
like fourth or fifth grade.
oh,
And
okay.
I'm not doing very, very well today. And I said, well, why not? He goes, I think he's in fourth grade because he said, this fifth grader stole my box. I'm not making this up. Stole my box of Pokemon cards and he just started handing them out willy-nilly to all these people and everything. And that box of Pokemon cards was worth about 10 or $11,000 is what
Hmm.
I could have gotten those Pokemon cards for. And he's just giving them out to people and like nobody does anything about it. Now, okay, maybe another kid took some of his Pokemon cards and everything. There's no way it's worth 10 or $11,000.
Hmm.
If
Right.
it's worth 10 or $11,000, why would your parents even let you have them to where you can take them to school to
Yeah,
where
they'd
somebody
be in a safe
can take them?
deposit box somewhere.
Right. And
Hmm.
so he's exaggerating. He's trying to get some
Hmm.
additional sympathy. He's trying
Right.
to emphasize how significant and important this is to him.
Hmm.
So I get that it's a mistruth. It's an exaggeration. It's a lie.
But you can see this kid sitting there thinking, I really want you to listen to me. I really want your attention.
Right.
And I'm going to embellish this in whatever way I can. I'm not hurting anybody. No
Right.
one's no one's suffering because of what I'm telling you. I just want your attention. I just
Yeah.
want you to listen to me.
Right. And he
And
knows
if
that
I
I'm not going to go to school and talk to this other kid who took the program. He knows I'm not going to do that. So
no.
it's like it's safe and
Right.
it's yeah.
Yep, victimless crime. And remember, and we're gonna make this point again in a few minutes. Another reason why children lie is they don't want their parents to be in their business too much. And so if a kid isn't sleeping, if a parent suspects that a child isn't getting a sufficient amount of sleep, and they'll say, "Hey, how did you sleep last night?" And the kids, "Oh, it's great, it's great," because they don't want their parents to be interfering with whatever nighttime activities they're engaging in.
Right.
And so they'll say, "Oh, no, I'm fine, everything's good." Or you seem to be really depressed today. Well, the kid doesn't want to go to a shrink. He doesn't want to come to somebody like me. So he said, "No, I'm fine. I feel good. I'm okay." So they'll kind of minimize so that they take the pressure off themselves.
Right. And I think one of the big ones is impulsivity.
Yeah, right.
Especially with kids with ADHD,
Hmm.
and parents will ask a question and the kid immediately says no or no, I'm fine. I don't have any homework. I don't need to do anything.
Mhm.
No, I didn't get in trouble today. I had a great day. They respond impulsively
Right,
and so they're not really thinking about what they're saying.
right.
Sometimes they're distracted. Parents don't ask them questions when they're playing video games. Make them stop the video game
Hmm.
and look at you before you ask them a question. Because if they answer you while they're playing a video game, they're not even really thinking about what they're saying. Again,
Right.
is it a lie? I mean, technically, I suppose, but it's just that they're responding without thinking.
Right. That's right. So, and the other thing, of course, are white lies. Okay. And white lies, I think, are in a different category. We typically don't worry about them. In fact, parents will often encourage their children, to spare somebody's feelings or not to hurt somebody else. So parents will encourage maybe telling a white lie. So, as usual, it's a complicated issue, and parents and teachers, caregivers, need to be careful about how to handle situations that fall in this category of untruth, exaggeration, or lying.
Mhm.
And what parents do, how parents react, and what parents and teachers should do depends on two things. One is what is the function of the lie, uh,
Mhm.
the untruth? What what purpose is it serving for this child? And the second question is how severe is the lie?
Right.
And you can't, not all lies have the same value,
Right.
and you have to differentiate between important untruths and downright lies.
Right.
So one of the things we recommend to parents is let's first of all figure out what kind of lie we're dealing with. And there's sort of three levels, three degrees of severity. And the
Right.
first level is a level one lie. This is attention-seeking lying. I have a,
Right.
I have a, we often see this in young children. You get an 8, 9, 10-year-old who's playing a sport, playing soccer, baseball, or something. And so the level one lie is attention-seeking lying. I'm the best player on my team. They'll come in and say, "Yeah, I'm the best player on my team. I scored 5 goals today." Well, no, you're probably not the best player on the team. You might not even be very good at it. But this is sort of attention-seeking, building your image.
Right.
It's best to ignore that.
Well,
Okay.
it's like the boy that came in with the $10,000 or $11,000 box of Pokemon cards.
Right.
I'm not going to. I would never encourage a parent to apply any consequence for that. It's like, what? Okay, sure, yeah, man, that stinks. Sorry
Yeah.
to hear about that. Okay,
Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, man, that's a big deal.
maybe you shouldn't bring Pokemon cards to school next time. That would be probably be a good way to prevent that from happening.
Right, right. And so many of these exaggerations, image building, you can ignore that. I mean, it's not really a lie. Okay. So put it in a different category. It's a level one lie. Level two lie
Hmm.
is you're just stretching the truth. Um, Maybe you did something, but you exaggerate it just a little bit.
Hmm.
In these cases, again, it's just an exaggeration. And so the best consequence in this case is sort of call the child out, but do it gently.
Hmm.
So let's walk through this. And how many goals did you score? Or how big was this
Right.
fish that you caught?
Right.
The fishtail thing. Call them out gently and maybe a mild reprimand to say, honey, be careful when you do this because you're kind of exaggerating the truth and this,
Mhm.
explain it to them, teach them that um, this could be a problem if you're doing it with other people.
Right. Absolutely. The big concern, of course, is the level three lying,
Right.
and that's where this is usually older kids, but they're really lying to get out of
Hmm.
serious trouble. There are that could lead to more serious trouble,
Right.
and problems overall. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, what we're talking about is the example we gave with homework. When the kid comes home and you say, do you have any homework? And no, I don't have any homework. Well, that's going to lead to some significant consequences because it's
Mhm.
going to affect their grades. It's going to affect their school assignments. And it can have long-term effects on overall learning and things like that. And they're just really just trying to get to their video games or their social media or whatever it is. And so those are lies that have uh, more serious consequences rather than just exaggerating.
That's right. And now, so you take these three levels of lies, and you can see the developmental component here that we're talking about earlier, that level one lies are usually in younger children.
Right.
Okay. Now they can occur in older children, but typically we see that in younger kids. Level two lies we start to see in middle school, elementary school, late elementary school, third, fourth, fifth grade, and into middle school. Level three lies we see in middle and high school. These
Right.
are lies, these are untruths that carry bigger consequences with them. Older kids lying about where they've been, and we've all done that. Well, I'm going to so and so's house, but you're actually going to your boyfriend's house, or you say you're going here, but you're actually going there. Those kind of lies, or whether you did your homework or not, these require more specific consequences. So if you take homework, for example, the child lies about homework. Well, first of all, you got to do the homework. I don't care if it's late. I don't care if it's not accepted. You were given the assignment, you're going to do the assignment. But there's also going to be some consequences for the lying. So in this case, you are taking a parent or a teacher or caregiver. This is a much more specific, tangible consequence than a kid who's just saying, well, I'm the best player on my team. So in this case, you are going to take more decisive action.
Right. And that action isn't necessarily like serious punishments.
Exactly.
That consequence could be again something very tangible, but something that you that that is temporary and fits the crime basically. So if your kid comes home and you suspect or you find out that they weren't where they were supposed to be,
Right.
and they lied about it, you know,
Hmm.
it could be, well, you're not able to go out with those friends again, or you're not able to, or for the next week or so.
Right.
Or that means that well, we need to put Life 360 on your phone so that
Hmm.
I know where you are. And if at
Right.
any point that's turned off, then so that I can't see where you are, then there's another consequence for that. So, there are consequences that you can apply that don't necessarily mean that you are taking everything away from them and that's it, you're never driving again or any of that kind of stuff. It's just it's a consequence that fits what happened, but
Hmm.
also corrects the problem.
Correct. Hmm. Yeah, kids need to know that you're paying attention.
Right.
That, I caught you doing this. You don't have to be harsh. It doesn't have to be punitive. It doesn't have to be you can't use your phone for a month because you lied to me. It doesn't have to be a harsh punishment. It just has to be a reasonable consequence that if you do these things, there's going to be a price to pay for it.
Right.
Now, if you're dealing with a child who's chronically lying about serious lies frequently, that's a different kind of problem, right?
Right.
Most kids are going to tell these little lies. Most kids sneak out. Most kids go on websites that they're not allowed to go to. Most kids will drink or smoke marijuana when they're not allowed to. These are normal things that kids are going to do. Um, and you can't, and you have to be aware of this stuff, but not to the extent that you're going to have this thunderous response so that they'll never do it again. They're going to keep doing it. So be sure that your punishments are not so harsh that you damage your relationship with your children. It's not
Right.
worth it.
Right. Yeah. So when we think about how to help kids avoid lying, I
Mhm.
think that there's a few very simple, not
Right.
maybe simple isn't the right word, but very direct ways to
Hmm.
to manage it. And I think the first thing that I often recommend to parents is if your kid, and this is especially true for younger kids, this is especially true for the homework issue or maybe the not being where you're supposed to be issue,
Right.
is don't give them the opportunity to lie.
Right.
Like I often will say if your kid lies when you say, "Do you have any homework?" and their response is always no. But then when you look at the parent portal or you look at their online stuff and they keep having zeros because they're not doing homework,
Hmm.
Let's just stop asking them if they have homework. Instead of
Right.
asking them if they have homework, say, you know what, bring your backpack in here and let's look to see what you have for homework. And they
Hmm.
may say, I don't have any homework. And then you just say, okay, let's just look and check to make sure.
Hmm.
I'm not giving you the opportunity to lie. I'm not giving you the opportunity to say no because I know you're going to say
Hmm.
no.
Right.
If you find out that your kid went somewhere that they weren't supposed to be, I'm not going to ask you, where were you tonight? Because
Hmm.
I know you're going to lie about that.
Right.
Instead, say, come on, we need to sit down and talk about where you were tonight.
Right. Hmm.
I'm not asking you where you were. I'm telling you that I know where you were. And we need to have that because that's the conversation that needs to happen.
Right.
Don't give them the opportunity to lie because
Right.
the more opportunities they have to lie, the more they're going to lie.
Hmm.
There are going to be times when they lie and get away with it. And so if you keep giving them that opportunity, it's just going to keep reinforcing the idea that, you know what, I might get away with it this time.
Right. Right. Yeah. Don't set them up. Don't
Right.
don't set up a situation where I know where you were and I'm going to catch you and now I'm going to hammer you for lying.
It makes me crazy when parents say, he keeps lying to me every day. Every day I ask him if he has homework and he says no. Why keep doing that? You're just making him upset, you're making yourself upset, you're creating more drama, more problems. Just
Right.
stop asking that and just
You know,
hey,
if
let's
you
just check and look at what you have.
right, what I tell parents, if your child, many schools don't give homework,
Right.
okay, but most schools do. At some point, you're going to have homework. What I tell parents is just have a 30-minute homework session every night.
Right.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any homework, but I'm going to give you this 30 minutes. You're
Hmm.
not going to do anything else in that time. You're not
Right.
going to play video game. You're not going to be on, everything's going to be shut off. You can sit here and do nothing, or you can sit here and do homework. It's entirely up to you.
Right.
Okay. So, but again, you're avoiding that thing about
Yeah.
lying. There's no point in them lying because they have this 30 minutes. For high school students, maybe it's an hour. You're going
Hmm.
to sit here for an hour. You're not going to have any TV. You're not going to have any video games. You're not going to be on your computer. You're going to do homework or you're going to do nothing. It's up to you.
Right.
The other thing is point number two. The truth will get lesser, and I believe in most cases, no consequences.
Right.
I don't like when people say, well, if you tell me the truth, I'm going to give you, I'm going to take your phone for a week. If you lie, I'm going to take it for 2 weeks. That's not a very good deal.
Right.
Um, One of the things that we all want our children to do, especially older children, is if they end up at a party and either they or whoever's driving has been drinking, I want my kids to call me and I'll come and get them, okay, to be safe. All right. And so there are two issues here.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, because it's the case with that, and it's the case with other things too. With being somewhere you're not supposed to be, it's
Right.
just how to be safe. It's I appreciate that you want to go hang out with your friends. I
Mhm.
appreciate that you may be somewhere where people are doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. I want you to feel safe and okay with making the right choice in those situations.
Correct.
Not safe for you to be somewhere where I don't know where you are, because if you then need help or if you need something, if something happens, God forbid
Mhm.
something happens, and you need help, I need to know where you are or I need to know how to access you so that
Mhm.
I can get you help because we're not talking about another adult. We're talking about, a 16-year-old.
Right.
Well, a 16-year-old can be in a situation where they're going to need help.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
much more likely to be in a situation where they need help than a 26-year-old.
Right.
So we need to know how to be safe and be responsible. And so if people are doing something they shouldn't be doing, and you shouldn't get in a car with somebody who's been drinking or been who have are under the influence of something, call me, let me know, hey, I came to this party. I know I said that I was going to be at this other place, but I came to
Mhm.
this party and people have been drinking and stuff. And so, is
Mhm.
there any way you can come get me? Absolutely. I'm on my way.
Right. Exactly. Hmm.
Yeah.
And so in that case, a child is doing the responsible thing.
Right.
So you can't say, well, you've been drinking, so you have to be punished. The child has done the right thing. Even
Right.
if the child herself was drinking and calls you, that's no time to reach for the punishment stick. The child has acted responsibly. Yes, we got to talk about drinking. How much did you drink? How often does this happen? You have to have a discussion about alcohol consumption or marijuana consumption or nicotine. Yeah, you have to have that discussion. But this is not the time to punish a child. This is the child has acted responsibly. So in those cases, I would say there are no consequences. The child has done the right thing. Yeah, the child shouldn't be drinking, but so they can't be afraid of you. Remember, very early on, we talked about why do kids lie to avoid consequences? Well, if your child knows she's going to be punished, she's going to take a chance and get in the car with somebody who's been drinking, unsafe, or she's going to lie about where she was and what she was doing, which you don't want to go there either. So you have to allow children to tell you the truth. And so you have to be careful about how you dole out your punishments.
Yeah. I think another important strategy, especially for parents of kids with ADHD,
Mm.
is to give them more time.
Yeah.
We ask questions and then we expect an immediate
Mhm.
response.
Right.
I think it's important to give them more time. If they do provide an immediate response, say, hold on, think about what I just asked you, and then ask them again and
Mhm.
encourage them, cue them to take another moment to think
Right.
about what they're responding.
Mhm.
You can't just take the first thing that they say, especially when it's an impulsive response,
Right.
and just go with that and
Mhm.
and bring the hammer down.
Right.
Say, hey, wait a minute, listen to what I asked you, and then think about what response you're giving me.
Right. That's right. Now, what should parents not do?
Yeah.
And you mentioned this earlier. If you know that your child has lied, if my kids have gone out and I found out that they were at this house instead of this house, so I know that they're lying to me, right? Don't set them up to lie.
Right.
Just say to them, "Look, I know you were here. Let's talk about that.
Right.
Why is this happening? What's going on? Let's solve that problem." Okay.
Right.
Don't say, "Okay, where were you?" And they say, "Oh, I was here." And I said, "Were you really there?" "Yeah, I was there. I caught you. Now I can punish you." Don't
Right.
look for ways to punish your children. Look
Right.
for ways to teach them how to do the right thing.
And don't call them a liar.
Yeah, that's name
Um,
call.
I, I have such a hard time with parents who say my kid is a liar,
Right.
or the other one I have a hard time with is she keeps stealing.
Mhm.
She'll go into the pantry and she'll steal food. That's not stealing. She's eating. And
Right.
she's eating things she shouldn't be eating. That's not
Right.
don't call her a theft. That's not theft. That's not stealing.
Mhm.
She's doing something she shouldn't do, maybe, or she's breaking a rule, but it's not stealing. Don't call them a liar.
Right.
You're a liar, and you just keep lying.
Mhm.
We need to work on honesty. We need to work on how to deal with those things. But as we're hopefully emphasizing in this podcast, a lot of times those lies are because of the way the parent responds to them. And so if we can manage the way that we respond to them, we may be able to better manage, or the kid may be able to better manage how they're responding.
Right. Um, And when you say your child is a liar, you're sort of attaching a personality character. You're sort of
Right.
making the child into a character. That's not how you want to do this. You don't want to call your child that. My child, whom I love unconditionally, is lying to me, is very different than saying my child is a liar, because a liar has to be punished. Your child who is not telling you the truth is a much different way of conceptualizing this whole thing.
Right. Yeah, and we're I know we're wrapping up with the podcast, but isn't it interesting that many times the same parents who complain and have problems with their kids lying, then when the child says something about, say, something that the teacher does,
Mhm.
um, then all of a sudden the child is telling the complete truth, and we're going to go after the teacher.
Right.
Well, the teacher didn't do what the teacher was supposed to do. So
Right.
let's call the school and get at the teacher. We the reason that we want to be able to believe our kids, the reason that we want our kids to tell the truth is because when they need help, we need
Hmm.
to be able to trust that they're telling us the truth and that they need help. If
Right.
something happens at school or when they're with their friends or when they're at the park or wherever, we want to know that what they're sharing with us, what they're telling us is the truth so that we can then either advise them as to how they should respond or then we can provide the help that they may need. When kids are lying, it's really difficult to know how to best provide that support, that parental role that we need to be in. So, but sometimes we have to explain that to the kids. When I can't trust what you're telling me, then I don't know how to help. I don't know how to make sure you have what you need.
Right.
And so I need to be able to trust you. I need to be able to know that when you're telling me something, what you're telling me is accurate.
Right. Right.
But very few parents have that explanation or have that discussion with their kids.
Right. One other caution. We frequently hear adults say, the one thing I can't tolerate is lying. I will can't tolerate lying. Be careful with that. That's your baggage. That's your life.
Right,
Don't impose your baggage on your child. Your child is just beginning the process of truth telling and lying and exaggerating. Remember, they're on their own developmental sequence. So
right,
don't impose your passionate feelings about lying onto your children. You're two
right.
different people. So be careful that you don't impose that on your kids.
Absolutely. So again, it's an interesting and challenging issue to deal
Right.
with. But if you need help with that, seek support with a mental health professional or with
Right.
someone that may be able to help you kind of walk through some of those problems. So,
Mhm.
all right, that's it for today. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and forget to be afraid.